Hello, my name's Mike, and I work on a project called Drupal Quickstart. So I wanted to do a screencast on how to do profiling for Drupal 7 with XHProf and the Devel module using Quickstart 0.9. So here we go. What is profiling? Kind of very quickly, profiling lets us take profiling in PHP and Drupal lets us take a page load and take all of the time that it took to load that page and break it down into little pieces so we can see where the time went. And this is a useful tool when deciding how to best improve performance, so we don't improve the performance of something where it doesn't matter or isn't noticeable. In Quickstart 0.8, it came with Xdebug and WebGrind as a profiler. Quickstart 0.9 comes with XHProf as well. And Drupal 7's Devel module supports XHProf and puts a little profile viewer link at the bottom of every page load. So here's how to do it with XHProf, the Devel module, and Drupal 7 in Quickstart 0.9. The first thing we got to do is install and configure the Devel module. And we can do this with drush, which is actually awesome. We can do this all from the command line. And then the second thing we do is click the link at the bottom of the page and start to see what's going on. So let's do it. This is Oracle's VirtualBox, or it used to be Sun's VirtualBox. And I'm going to open up Quickstart 0.9. And here we go. So the first thing we got to do is download and install the Devel module. So we're going to go to the websites folder. And this folder is where, by default, Quickstart creates all of the websites that it works with. So if we look at the example.dev module, this is a Drupal 7 site that comes already set up in Quickstart, just kind of help learn how to use it and show examples and all that, do screencasts, etc. This is a Drupal 7 install, and we can use drush to download the Devel module right from the command line. So here we go. So drush went out to fdp.drupal.org and downloaded the contrib module Devel, and shows us that we have 4 modules here. So if we go look in the sites all modules folder, there's the Devel code that it downloaded. So it just downloaded the code. Now we have to enable it, and we're going to use the package manager enable command to do that. And oops, I have to give it the name of the module we want to enable. So now it's going to go out and enable that module. All right. Now the next bit, we're going to use drush to configure some of the settings for the Devel module. And the Devel module settings are stored in the variables table, and there's a little API to do that. Drush also helps work with that API. So we're going to use the vset command. So I'll paste a copy of all this onto the notes for the screencast. But we can do this. Paste. So here we set Devel XHProf enabled to true. So we turned on the XHProf features in the Devel module. This directory is where the XHProf module actually is, and where the profiles are also kept. And then this is the URL of the web-based profile viewer that comes with XHProf. So that sets it all up. We didn't have to go to any of the admin pages to do that, which is kind of convenient. Actually, I have to do this last one. All right, there we go. So now we're all set up. So let's go to example.dev. Now, XHProf only shows the link to the profile viewer for logged in users by default. So if we log in as the admin user, the password admin, here we'll see our profile output links. So we can go to the appearance page. This is the page that loads up modules and lets us, or loads up themes and lets us change themes, or change which theme we're using. And here we've got our little XHProf output link. So if we click on this, we just left example.dev, and now we're on the profile viewer application for XHProf. So here we're looking at this particular run, and I can show you where this file is. It's not that interesting. It's not really a human readable file, but it's good to know where it is. If we look in, so this is the websites folder, and you can get to this, well, this is the website folder, and if we look in logs, XHProf, here we'll see all of the profiles. So these here are all the profiles for example.dev. Now, it's important to note that every time you do a page load on example.dev now, it's going to save a 200 kilobyte file. So this will quickly, well, this could fill up the disk. So if you run into disk space, know that you need to come in here and delete these profiles or turn off XHProf when you're not profiling. So that's where the files are. XHProf went out, opened up that run, and here we are looking at the profile data. So very quickly, here's some tips on how to break this down. When we're looking at all of these functions, these are the top 100 functions. We can see that main, which is kind of the implied function in index.php, took 100% of the wall time, the inclusive wall time. And this was to be expected because that's where everything happens, is in index.php. If we look a little deeper though, if you look at that code, you'll see that main doesn't really do anything. It just calls a couple of other functions, and that's kind of reflected here in this exclusive wall time. So this eWall shows that we spent 0.0% of our time in the main function doing stuff other than calling other functions. And this is important because there really isn't, because of the exclusive wall time is 0, there really isn't a good reason to improve the performance of main because it's not going to really affect anything. If we start to break this down a little bit further, we can sort by the exclusive wall time, and we can see where we spent most of our time in this particular page load. And we'll see that we spent most of our time in PDO commit, spent 13% of our time there, and that was 13% of our time doing stuff besides calling other functions written in PHP. We can also see that get defined constants took 10.6% of the time as far as exclusive wall time, and preg grep, and et cetera, et cetera. So we can break down here, and all of these are candidates for being able to improve the performance of this page. Now, I'm not saying the performance of this page, there's anything wrong with it, but if we were interested in it, this is where we would start to work. This also does other things like break down the memory use, which is good to know. And if you're curious, here is a call graph. I haven't fully grokked how to interpret this graph, but it looks pretty interesting and amazing. So there it is. There's more to learn about profiling with XHProf. You can actually profile just particular parts of a page load instead of the whole thing. If you're interested in that, check out, there's some other resources online on where you can learn how to do that. And if you're interested in Quickstart, there's a project page up on Drupal.org. There's also a group if you have any questions. I'd love to hear some feedback of what people are doing with it. And thanks for everything you do for open source.